I've had plenty of critical things to say about the Green Bay Packers over the last week, over the last 6 weeks or so, but that doesn't mean I've given up on this team. There's too much talent to do that, but they need to find some common ground, and they need to do it fast. They can get there because the NFC is wide open, but they have to get on the same page. Plus, Andy Herman joins us today for Expert Tuesday.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Almost lost my breath on that one. Thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our new friends over at Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com and enter the promo code Locked On, and they will throw you a free Birddogs rope hat. It's that easy. Go do it. You will not regret it. Andy Herman on the show today, Expert Tuesday. You know, we use expert and heavy scare quotes on this one. No. I want to talk about this team and where they stand right now after what was just a disgusting performance against the New York Jets on Sunday. All of that being said, and let's be honest, I've said a lot, and I've said maybe more than enough on the things that I think are going wrong for Green Bay right now. And it did not give me a lot of hope in what was going on with this team when Aaron Rodgers after the game says, I think we need to simplify things. And then when Matt LaFleur is asked about it the next day, he goes, I don't know what that means. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they're not on the same page pretty clearly. I think Aaron Rodgers wants this offense to be one thing and Matt LaFleur wants it to be another, and they are clearly not on the same page about that. But here is what I think they can agree on. And I think they can agree on it because they've said it. The biggest problem with this team right now is the execution. Now, Aaron Rodgers does not think he is as big of the problem as he is, but he is. And if execution increases elsewhere, that will certainly make it easier for Aaron Rodgers to do his job. If the offensive line blocks better, that will make it easier for Aaron Rodgers. If the receiver spacing is better, that will make life easier for Aaron Rodgers. If the adjustments run by the receivers are better, that will make life easier for Aaron Rodgers. And if Aaron Rodgers plays with a little bit more comfort in the pocket, a little bit more urgency, that will make life easier for everyone else around him. I don't even want to, I tweeted out a lot of stats yesterday on Twitter. Go find them. That's where you tweet things. Twitter, a little redundant. But what I think is optimistic about this team, or if you're going to make the optimistic case for this team, you would say that guys who you expect to be much better than they've been, based on who they've been over the courses of their careers, and certainly based on who they were last year, can and likely will get better. So our pal Zach Cruz over at the Packers Wire had this tweet where he picked out a couple veteran Pro Football Focus grades. From 21 to 22, Aaron Rodgers' Pro Football Focus grade has fallen almost 18 points. 18 points is like the difference between being a good player and being a meh player. And that is the difference in his play from last season to this season. Elton Jenkins has fallen 10.4 points. That's the difference between being a really good player and just like a fine player. And given his struggles on the offensive line, that has been the deal. And I think if he plays guard again, he will go back to being a really good player. I think Aaron Rodgers eventually will be much closer to where he was in 2021 than where he is right now. But he's not there right now. And so that's why all of the criticism is fair. But I think this will regress in a positive manner. It will regress to the mean. A.J. Dillon, almost 20 points from last year. He was one of the top graded running backs in the league, was qualitatively one of the best running backs in football last season. Quantitatively, SIS, their Sports Info and Solutions total points grade, Dillon was one of the most valuable backs in the league last season. He's been straight up bad this year. Just not useful, not good, not helpful. Anytime he's out there right now, you're taking snaps away from Aaron Jones, who has been one of the best 5 running backs in football this season. Stop giving all these carries to A.J. Dillon until he looks like the guy we saw last year. And if he doesn't, then you don't give him the carries. Like, he's a really great guy. Everyone loves him. His teammates love him. He's got a great nickname, but he's not producing right now. You got to re-earn those reps. Devondre Campbell, minus 18, 17.9. Again, that's the same as Aaron Rodgers, and last year was an outlier year for him. Now, they're asking him to do some different things. They're asking him to play next to Quay Walker, who does not know what he's doing right now. And we saw this past Sunday, they went to more of these big dime looks, and they asked him to play single linebacker stuff, and he still had some issues. He's already missed almost as many tackles through 6 weeks as he did all of last season. He's not playing with the same force. He's not playing with the same decisiveness. He's not playing with the same speed. It's not going great. Russell Douglas, minus 12 in his Pro Football Focus grade. Now, he's changing positions, so it's not quite fair. I think Russell Douglas has been a quality player for this defense. Of all the problems with the defense, he is not one of them to me. And I think when he's playing more on the outside in these situations, you know, Jair Alexander played 7 snaps in the slot of 22 pass coverage reps. So about a third of the time he's playing in the slot. That's mostly third in passing situations, which I think is smart. I like him on the outside so he can match number ones. He's going to face real number ones this week. Terry McLaurin is a real number one. Now, Taylor Heineke or Sam Howell is going to be the quarterback. Carson Wentz is going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. But they also have Curtis Samuel. They've got some guys to throw the ball to. Jahan Dotson. They're going to need Jair Alexander, Russell Douglas, and Eric Stokes all to play well. Well, Eric Stokes also on this list. Minus 13.6 in Pro Football Focus grade. He was good last year. He has not been great this season. And Matt LaFleur has made some excuses for him. You have to remember, he's just a second-year player, all that stuff. Yes, he was thrown into the fire last year and had to be cornerback 1, and he played well last year. So why is he not playing as well this year? Does not look as decisive, does not look as fast, does not look as physical, not playing as much press man. That's a Joe Barry problem. But he should be an ascending player. His arrow should be going up. Now, not all progress is linear, and I think we forget that sometimes. But he can be so much better than he is this year, and I think part of that is you're going to see over time when they were going to play more press, they're going to play more man coverage, and that arrow is going to point up. Both safeties, over 16 points on their Pro Football Focus grade down from last year. And Savage was not great last year, but Adrian Amos was. Neither of them are playing to the level that you need them at. I thought Amos played pretty well on Sunday, flying around and making some plays. But when Darnell Savage isn't doing much, it's hard. You need the playmaker if you're going to have someone as steady as Amos, unless he's going to start making plays, and he's not. I expect those safeties over time to play better. They're better players than we've seen. Now, Dean Lowry, he's down 10. He should probably be losing snaps to guys like TJ Slayton. You'd probably like to get Devontae Wyatt on the field and just say, Devontae Wyatt, figure it out. Like, you can't be worse than this defense has been against the run. So forget it. Get Devontae Wyatt out there and see, just like get him some reps, give him some burn, let him go out there and go do it, figure it out on the fly. And then another name that we just haven't talked about much since the first couple of weeks. He started off strong, but has fallen off the last few weeks. The run defense has not been great, and that's Preston Smith. Down almost 12 points, Pro Football Focus grade from last year. Your mileage can vary on PFF, and I get it. It's not the same for everyone, and they don't know all the assignments. I think we sometimes over analyze what football is and expect it to be rocket science and feel like you have to know every call on every down and every coaching point and all that stuff. You don't. And guess what? Opponents don't know every call and every teaching point in every room, but they evaluate these guys too. Football is football at a certain point. And these guys, veteran players, core players, are just not playing well enough. I think we can expect Aaron Rodgers to play much better. Even if he just cuts that in half. Let's say he's not as good as he was last year, but he's down 8 points, 9 points by PFF, and he's like the 8th best quarterback in the league instead of the 16th best. Because he's not been good this year. He can be so much better. And we know physically he can still make these throws, but not playing on time, not playing where he's reading the field cleanly, just stuff that you don't expect. I think Elton Jenkins will change positions. I really do. They just can't. They can't. They clearly don't want to put the other guards out there. Jake Hansen is not it. Jake Hansen's hurt now. They added an offensive lineman. You can't put Royce Newman out there. The guy cannot be an NFL starter. And so you have to figure something else out, whether it's Zach Tom, but he's not been good at right tackle. You have to think Yosh Nijman could be better. So you just put your best 5 out there. That immediately makes things better. Let Russell Douglas play a little bit more on the boundary. He immediately becomes better. Play a little bit more man coverage. That immediately makes Eric Stokes better. And frankly, that immediately makes Darnell Savage better. I thought he played in coverage pretty well last week. This coverage group has been good. It's been in run defense where this group has really had issues. And then you can't have Preston Smith play so far down from where he was last year. They need Preston and Rashawn Gary to be MFers. And if they're not, that's going to be a problem. But all of this is to say, the biggest problem with this team is not that the additions that they made aren't good enough. It's not that the schemes aren't good enough. It's that the players that they are relying on to be good have not been good. And these guys, by and large, are good players. And so you expect that over the course of the season, your good players are going to be good. And whether that makes them a title contender, that's a separate issue, but the NFC is wide open. The Bucs look like poop. The Rams look like poop. Everyone after the Eagles looks pretty beatable. So just sort of get back to playing meh football versus football, and you're probably going to be fine. You're probably going to be fine. All right, today's episode brought to you by our friends at Birddogs. They sent us some of their new stuff. And the joggers are going to be my new travel pant. I have a lot of joggers. I'm a joggers guy. I wear them every day. And I am always in the market for new joggers. These things are so soft. They fit so wonderfully. And like the pocket construction. I need pockets when I'm traveling. If I'm going on an airplane, I got to have my wallet. I got to have my phone. I got to have all my stuff. And if your terry sweatpants have a tendency to really get kind of flimsy, wallet might fall out, your phone might fall out. You can't have that. You can't have that. These are high quality. I would say higher quality than something like Lululemon. And we're talking about less money. Less money. The pants, I love the pants and I love the shorts with the built-in liner. I feel like I can wear them out. If I want to go just like go to the mall or go to the store or whatever, I can just wear them or I can work out in them. I can play golf in them. They are do it all. Go to birddogs.com and enter promo code locked on and they'll throw in a free Bird Dogs rope hat. You want the rope hat. You really do. You want the rope hat. I need to get the rope hat immediately. That's birddogs.com, promo code locked on, and boom, a free Bird Dogs rope hat with your pair of Bird Dogs, the most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. You don't want the built-in liner? You don't need them. You don't have to get it. Or it's there for you if you want it. You will not take these things off. I promise you. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. You don't want to waste your time dealing with applications with people who aren't going to do it. They're not going to be the right fit for your team. And they might not even be close. But if you don't have the right filters, if you don't have the right process, you might be stuck wasting your time doing that. And if you're a candidate, you don't want to waste your time either. You don't want to waste their time. And so LinkedIn Jobs can help all of you. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen every day. Make sure to check out NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Locked On's local experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games of the NFL weekend, including Sunday and Monday Night Football, plus betting advice from the field's leading expert, BetOnline. Follow NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. All right, let's dive into our Expert Tuesday. We always bring in an expert in the field. We couldn't get one, so we have Andy Herman here. No, Andy, I kid, Andy. We love you. I appreciate you joining us.
You couldn't get a sports expert, so you had to settle for a food expert, I think.
Yes,
is what you meant.
You're right. Yep. So, Andy, we're going to talk about your Thanksgiving takes. Let's talk about, the only thing people want to hear less than the Packers Jets stuff is
my food takes.
Is your food takes. Yeah. No, that's actually maybe not true.
I think that
just
is
given
true.
how bad it was on Sunday with the Jets. Let's obviously start there. If you're going to just play doctor for me for a second and diagnose, not in a weird way, diagnose what you think is the number one cause for the Packers issues. I'm not even going to pick a side of the ball. You tell me what stands out. Okay, this is the number one thing I think is going wrong with the Packers right now.
I think you and I would probably both agree that we could make a lot of different arguments for a lot of different things, just from identity of the team, fighting spirit, just whether we want to go scheme, whether we want to go blocking, whether we want to go quarterbacking. We could go in a lot of different directions. I think this is going to probably be an interesting one because I think you've kind of leaned a little bit more quarterback, which I lean a little bit more offensive line. I certainly don't necessarily disagree with your diagnosis, fully. I think, like I said, you can make a lot of different arguments. For me, the blocking isn't good enough in any capacity to do anything with any sort of consistent success. And I think it's one we've talked about for a while now, the past few years. It would be like guys playing positions they hadn't played before. And you've got, Alex Light coming in or who knows. And they've been able to cobble things together and make things work. I think we gave a lot of credit to Adam Stenovich for that. And now I know you've got some guys returning from injury in Bakhtiari and Jenkins, but you've got Myers in his second year. Runyon looked, I thought, really good a season ago. Is not probably ideal, but he played 1,000 snaps last year and it wasn't this bad. And now this group can't block anyone. And the run blocking certainly is suffering. The pass protection certainly suffering. And it's not just blocking on offense, right? It's blocking on the field goal team where you've got Royce Newman and Jake Hansen right next to each other, right next to Jack Coco. Now, I'm no expert on special teams, Pete. I'm probably a better food expert than I am a special teams expert. To me, Jake Hansen, Royce Newman, Jack Coco, 1, 2, 3 right next to each other on one side of the line doesn't seem like a great idea. No. That breaks down. And then obviously punt protection breakdown. So that's where I'm going right now, is just blocking in general, but I'm open to anything at this point.
No, I think so. I can't remember if this was you, tell me. Otherwise, I think it was Zach Cruz, but it was one of you two said, Matt LaFleur said, it doesn't matter what the scheme is if you can't block, and they can't pass protect, they can't run block, and they can't block on teams.
Yeah.
And so if you can't if you can't do any of those things, like you're kind of SOL. And so like, I guess what I have said is offensively, the biggest problem that I have is Aaron Rodgers. And I guess for me, that's relative to expectation. Like, I just expect Rodgers to be better. I expected some growing pains with the blocking, but if you add in what's going on with special teams, that's why I think you make a really good point that if you add in the special team screw ups with the blocking, like I think you can make the case that blocking is the single biggest problem for this team right now. And it's really surprising. You and I were saying before we came on here, the line is healthy. So like this should not be a problem. Now, you tell me, does Elgton Jenkins look the same to you at right tackle that he did left tackle last year pre-injury? Because to me, the foot quickness difference is like night and day.
I'm not sold. I was messaging Justice Mosqueda about this yesterday. I'm not sold that you move Elgton back to guard and things are just better. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he is, because he was a darn good, guard, offensive lineman, etc. Almost anywhere they put him, he looks a step slower. He looks uncomfortable. He looks, he just doesn't look anything near himself. And like you said, he played left tackle pretty dang well, outside, and he doesn't look anything like that. I thought this was a brutal game for Elgton Jenkins, and just does not look like he can stay out there. And I hope that you can move him inside and all of a sudden he becomes Elgton Jenkins again. But I think there's going to still be some issues there. And maybe it's just the ACL. Maybe he's just regaining confidence in it. Maybe he's just, maybe it's going from left to right. And heard the toilet paper comparison of like, it's learning to wipe with a different hand. I don't remember who exactly that was, but yeah,
it's
overall,
one of those like gross football truisms that just like you just hear and just like, oh, can we find a different?
With you? Yeah, exactly.
Please find a different metaphor.
I don't know, but it's been really difficult to watch because he was such a talented player, obviously, and it just hasn't been that way. And I think we all kind of just expected, all right, Elgton, whatever 5 you want to put him at, set it and forget it. Maybe it's not like Pro Bowl caliber Elgton Jenkins, but you don't have to worry about that spot anymore. And that has been far from the case.
I think if you're just armchair quarterbacking, which is what we do, you would say, okay, put him at guard. I don't care left or right, pick one, and put Yosh Nijman at right tackle. But Yosh has said on the record, he's less comfortable at right tackle than left tackle, even though he played right tackle in college. And, I think you can make the case pretty compellingly that Nijman, even for whatever misgivings he has about playing right tackle, that's a better option than Royce Newman anywhere. And they luckily don't have the problem of having to play Jake Hansen. That's one of those like weird coaches, like they really like him, but he's not very good. And so that decision is being taken out of their hands. They might end up stumbling into the best 5 simply because circumstances have dictated they have to.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that plays out. I think I would be surprised if we didn't see any change this week. But I don't know what that change looks like. What would you do if you were setting it up, just like not necessarily long-term, but just given where this team is right now, if you were going to make a change for Sunday, what would that change be?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same as everyone's been talking about it. I'm not too, I would probably keep running at left guard and put Elgton at right guard, but like, I would also lean a lot more towards what's going to be best week 15, 16, 17. And also like what's going to be best going into next season. Because if that's Yosh at right tackle, like you think like Bakhtiari's not moving and you think he's going to be around for a couple of years, and you think Elgton and Runyon are clearly going to be here for, Elgton, obviously there's going to be a contract decision, but if you think those guys are going to be here for the foreseeable future, Myers is going to be on the line, like make your decision, not only for now, but like make it for end of this season and going forward. And if you want Jenkins back on the left side, then by all means, like let's get Runyon over to right now. Let's get Yosh over to right now and have them start learning that position. But I mean, with everyone else, I would probably put Yosh at right tackle. I do think there's probably some trepidation on their part of like, can we see Bakhtiari finish a game or two before we move our other guy that's playing left tackle over to right, especially when he's already a little bit uncomfortable in doing so? But I would even go a step further and say, like, if they have a level of confidence that Elgton is going to be Elgton at guard, I don't care if it's Royce Newman or Zach Tom or whomever at right tackle. I'm willing to sacrifice one spot that's not going great to get a Pro Bowl caliber guard back on my team and have that spot not only solidified, but potentially really good, rather than right now where you've got a right tackle who can't hold up at the point of attack and a right guard who can't hold up at the point of attack. And you've got two spots that are issues. So like, quite frankly, if Elton's Elton, like put him at one of the guard spots and hopefully you're solidified 1 through 4 in some capacity. And I know Myers and Runyon had a lot to be desired in this game too, but Bakhtiari, Runyon, Myers, Jenkins, and then figure out the rest. And if Mercedes Lewis has to play more on the right side, if you need a running back to stay in and chip a little bit more, whatever, okay, fine, so be it. But like, I'm more willing to do that than what we've seen these last few weeks.
Doing the same thing just is untenable. Like they just can't do it. And we saw it. I mean, they benched Royce Newman. Now, was I gobsmacked when they put him back in the game after Jake Hansen got hurt? Yeah, I did not think that made any sense. If he can't play, then he can't play, and find someone who can play.
Yeah.
But coaches tend to lean on the conservative side. If you didn't take any starter reps during the course of the week, and it doesn't seem like Zach Tom did, then you don't put that guy out there. You hope behind the scenes they're getting someone like Zach Tom prepared, whether it's at tackle, whether it's at guard, to at least compete to do that, which is weird, Andy, because we heard Matt LaFleur say after week 1, when he played, Zach Tom did for John Runyon, that he was competing to start. Okay, so where exactly is he competing to start then? Because he has not been giving any of those opportunities, and I just don't know. I don't know what you do there to get him ready, if not give him a chance to actually go do it. I started the show with the sort of optimistic case for this team getting better. And I referenced this one, I know is a Zach Cruz tweet because I had it pulled up when we were doing the segment, but he looked at all the veterans that had PFF grades that are way down from last year. And I know you do your own grading and you are seeing something very similar where some of the guys who played really well last year are just not themselves. Not just the 1 year wonder guys, not just Devondre Campbell and Russell Douglas, who are both, in the case of Sewell, at least playing a new position. And so there's some things that you can explain that away. We're talking about stalwart guys, the Aaron Rodgerses, the Adrian Amoses, who are just not performing up to last year's standard. Do you, as you watch and break down the tape, do you buy the idea that like this can be fixable precisely because some of the guys who are bad right now, we just don't expect to be bad for 18 weeks?
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that is somewhat encouraging to me, I think, is that I have caveats.
We have to be. That's just where we are right now with this team.
Yeah, no, is that we've seen an answer at every single position at some point, either like sort of some of the flashes or at some point in their career, right? I think clearly Aaron Rodgers back-to-back MVP. If he has played far below that expectation. I think you and I both agree with that. Whether the circumstances around him are good enough or not, that's, we can talk about it, but he's clearly not played up to his expectation. I've seen MVP Aaron Rodgers the last 2 years. I have a belief that he can play at an extremely high level once again. I know Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, even though I think Dillon is struggling quite a bit as well. I've seen those guys play extremely good football. I have faith that they can. We can go position by position. We saw, I know like Tunyon, 10 catches, 90 yards, not much after the catch. There's only so much you can kind of do with that. But we also saw the seam ball for the touchdown. We're starting to see a little bit more of a couple years ago, Robert Tunyon. I still think there's something in DeGuara that can unlock. I still love Mercedes Lewis as a blocking tight end. I've seen some real flashes from Romeo Doubs, and we've seen this wide receiver core at times really be able to win on the outside and give Rodgers a real opportunity to maybe make some plays and hit some passes downfield. I know all of these offensive linemen at some point have held up well enough as a collective group, nonetheless, to make me think that they can be a lot better. And we can go defensive line, linebacker, edge.
The offensive line was less talented last year and has played better. And so that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I just have faith that they're in the infrastructure that they're going to figure this out.
No, I agree. So I feel like there's baked in answers to every one of the questions that's nagging right now. It's just you have to put your players in the best position to succeed, which I think has been an issue so far this season. And there does come a point where execution and the players playing up to their level and their standard. I know Aaron Rodgers likes to say the standard is the standard. The standard has not been the standard so far this season. There's a lot of people that are playing well below expectations, and that's not meeting the standard. And to me, again, we could go in a million different directions with what's the biggest thing that's an issue for this team. But when you've got stars, like legitimate stars, not playing a good brand of football, yeah, your team's going to suffer because of it.
I think you can make the case that the Sunday game was the best game of Robert Tunyon's NFL career. Just with as much as he leaned on, I know he didn't, like, he's had multi-touchdown games and stuff in the past. I think he had a 3-touchdown game, right? Didn't he, in 2020? But
at some point, I think so.
In terms of like being an outlet, being reliable, like we saw the full Tonyan experience in this game. He's not as explosive, I think, as he looked at times in 19 and 20, but that's kind of to be expected coming off the ACL. I got a text from a league source during the game that was just sort of like, I can't wait until that guy looks like he looked before, like in terms of his explosiveness, because he's going to be so good for this offense. And I think that's right. Like he can be really good. You mentioned the flashes part of this. We've had an Allen Lazard game. We've had a Randall Cobb game. We've had a Romeo Doubs game. This was the big Bob Tonyan game, and we had an Aaron Jones game. So like the guys are there, but they haven't been able to. That sort of typifies the experience that we've had watching this team this season, and that is they have not had it all to come together at once. And if the defense is getting stops, the offense is going 3 and out. If the offense is moving the ball, the defense, like perfect example on Sunday, the Packers come down, they get the touchdown. You go, okay, here we go. They're getting back in this game. The Jets march the ball right down the field after they could not get a first down for the first 7-8 drives of this game. And so it's just sort of like, man, if they just could break the seal, so to speak, it feels like they have the guys, the horses, to be the team we thought they could be. How do they find whether it's that spark, that consistency? Like, is there something you think they could be doing that they're not, that could help them just sort of find the pocket?
Are you trying to say that they need a galvanizing moment? Are we going to have a whole nother thing of that this team needs a galvanizing moment to all come together? Because I don't think I can take it, Peter.
I mean, if it was Matt LaFleur MFing them on the sidelines in the first quarter of a Jets game that they ultimately lost, if that didn't do it, like, I mean, what are they going to? I don't know. Where do you go from there?
No, I know. Like
if it's Robert Saleh saying we thought they would quit, basically.
You lean on him and you keep,
What did you make of that?
I honestly don't think that he meant it in a Packers standpoint. I think he meant it as a philosophical approach of like, if you keep leaning on this team, they're going to give up. That's my initial thought.
I think you're being charitable to the Packers.
It would not surprise me if that's what he legitimately thought about the Packers, and that just kind of came out.
How many fans think that about the Packers? A lot of them.
If that's what he did mean about the Packers, it's a fair assessment. I mean, let's just put it that way, right? So like, if it was about the Packers, it's a completely fair assessment. And not only was it a fair assessment, he was right. He was 1,000,000% right. It happened. Like it legitimately happened. So I want to ask you something. All right. So you talked about like some of the flashes, and we saw a Jones game and we saw a Lazard game and a Dobbs game, et cetera. Right. So you asked me to be the doctor at the beginning. I want you to put your defensive coordinator hat on for a second. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. You're a defensive coordinator and you're game planning for the Packers this weekend. You don't have to worry about your own players. You've got good players. You've got some great players, some okay players, but you've got a good defense.
Solid. Okay.
All right. What's the first thing in your mind of like, okay, this is like, what's your threat assessment? What's the first thing that you have to stop for the Green Bay Packers?
I mean, I feel like if the Packers can't run the ball, they can't do anything.
Okay. So we need to stop the run. Okay. So we're going to stop the run. We're probably going to bring an extra guy up in the box. All right. Now let me ask you. So that's our initial stop. We're going to make sure we stop the run. Is there anything else at that point then that gives you fear? We got our 8th guy in the box. You're probably going to play some single high, probably going to play some press on the outside. What's your next threat level assessment?
The thing is I'm not worried about anything after that. Because they have proven, and the thing is like, I'm describing the way that the Giants and the Jets both play the Packers. Like, so this is the problem.
Yep.
Is I don't even have to come up with my idea because we just saw 2 teams do it.
Exactly.
And they're like, I made this joke that they're being Jedi mind tricked into throwing the ball deep when that's not what they're good at right now. Because for Aaron Rodgers' whole career, he's seen single high safety man coverage. He's seen cover one and just thought, I'm going over top every time. And that's just not what this team right now. I think this team could be good at that. Like with Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, and you get Sammy Watkins back. And I think Lazard, even as a vertical threat, is better than he gets credit for. We saw it on the touchdown on the back shoulder. but man, they have nothing else. Like it's all layups and shot plays. They have no mid-range game. And until they do, you're just, these teams are going to dare you to throw the ball over their heads. And until you can prove you can do it, like this is how they're going to keep playing. This is how I don't know. Jack Del Rio is Jack Del Rio. So I can't be certain that Washington will do this, but this is what Buffalo's going to do. We just saw Buffalo do it to Kansas City.
Yep. They
said, we don't think you can, we play zone. They played over 50% man coverage against the Chiefs. And that is what people are going to keep doing to the Packers. This is 2015 all over again, Andy.
Oh yeah. I mentioned the same thing. So did you catch in the press conference where LaFleur kind of is like, they played a lot more like press man than they had in the past. And like, yeah, no freaking kidding, because you can't do anything against it. Like, what do you think teams are going to play? But here's the thing, right? Is because, all right, we're going to bring an extra guy in the box. We're going to make sure that we control the run game as much as possible. And then the question becomes, all right, well, do we need to bring any pressure, or can we get home with 4? No, we can get home with 4. That's not a concern.
The Jets were blitzing, and then we're just sort of like, we don't have to do this.
And like the crazy thing, right, is like your first threat assessment is like, we've got to stop the run. And I'm kind of putting words in your mouth, but like, you got to stop Aaron Jones, right? All right. So are they going to feed Aaron Jones the ball a lot? No, they're probably actually going to forget about him. All right. So do they have deep threats on the outside? No, not ones that they can hit consistently. Well, what if they win? Is Rodgers going to hit him with consistency? Well, there's probably going to be a guy in his face. And even if not, like he's not exactly hitting a high percentage of those throws right now. And I think if you're a defensive coordinator, right, like, even and as you mentioned earlier, like they're kind of getting forced to try to hit some of those shot plays, which based on the defense that's being played, that's what you like. The calculus says, hey, that's what you attack. But every defensive coordinator is saying like, hey, we're probably gonna allow a few completions down the field. Lazard got a 35-yarder. Lazard got the touchdown at the end. There was the opportunity to Aaron Jones that probably should have been completed. But like that's where things are at. Like
Romeo Dobbs also open on that play, but yeah,
absolutely. Right. So like, you're like, you know what, we're going to have a few of those times where guys break open. We don't think that they can convert a high enough percentage of those to make it worth our while to actually even defend those and give it any credence or credit. And in the meantime, we can play an extra guy in the box where their run blocking is not that good anyway. So 8 guys against that, we like our advantage. We have a single guy in case they do get something where we can at least hope that they don't score a touchdown on the play. And we can limit everything underneath and in the middle because we've got a safety that can play a robber there too. Like there is not an easy answer if you're Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers to what you do against that right now, because I don't think you can complete enough passes on the outside with regularity to make teams scared of you. And that is a very it's a very like scary thought as Green Bay has to move forward and try to figure out a plan to make that work. It's rough.
You have to be able to find a way to attack the middle of the field, and the Packers didn't.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. Aaron Rodgers does not want to play that way. He wants to play everything on the outside. And to borrow from the basketball metaphor, there's actually, I think, 2 ways you can go with this. Number one, Jalen Rose always says, if the team is leaving you open all the time, there's a reason. And so if they're daring you to throw deep all game, it's because they don't think you can do it. And so at a certain point, you need to have a counter for that thing. And then the second thing is they don't have a bucket getter right now. Devontae Adams was their bucket getter.
Yep.
If it's 3rd and 8, just go get us a bucket. I think Romeo Dobbs can be that guy. I don't know that he's ready to be that guy this year, but I said it on Twitter yesterday. Like, I want to see them lean into Romeo Dobbs as the feature part of this offense. He's the most dynamic guy. He's the most explosive guy. He can win downfield more than he's getting targets. And I just want to see it. Like, can we just see it? Well, especially while Sammy Watkins is hurt. Like, just let Dobbs cook. That would be my take on that. All right, we're running long because we're having a good time. Give me your least controversial food take. You're like, everyone's gonna go, oh, Andy, way to go.
I think eggs are a legitimate miracle food because I think they're super delicious. They're amazingly healthy. They've got great lean protein, low calories. I'm not worried about the cholesterol. I think a good scrambled egg, a good fried egg. You don't need butter because eggs are delicious. They're a perfect complement to salt and pepper. Eggs are a miracle food, and I could eat a lot, and I do eat a lot of eggs. So I think that.
Oh yeah, you could have just gone with like pizza is good. That'd be pretty non-controversial.
That's another one non-controversial. Yeah,
you did it. I'm proud of you. Thanks for coming on, and you people who are listening to this on Tuesday, awesome. I will be on with Andy Tuesday night, live 7 Central. Is that right?
That is correct. Pack-A-Day Live.
So check that out as well. We're doing a home and home. So check that out, Andy. I'll talk to you later, and hopefully everyone else will come hang out with us too.
Can't wait. Thanks so much, Peter. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks to Andy for joining the show. Really great to talk to him. Our full rivalry aside. Today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks. This is the best way to be playing daily fantasy because you don't have to play against the sharks, the guys with the algorithms out there who are running all the numbers, and they're going to beat you. They're going to beat you. That's not what this is. PrizePicks decides on a stat line, like Aaron Jones to rush for less than 85 yards. You decide if he's going to do that or if he's going to rush for more than 85 yards. And if you put a couple of those together, pick 2 to 5 players that you think are going to put up more or less than that projection. You're just playing that number, the PrizePicks number. You don't have to beat me. You don't have to beat your friend Gary because Gary's going to get it right. You don't have to beat Gary. You just have to beat the number. That's easy. That's easy. And it's not just NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, golf, college sports, women's sports, esports, all the stuff, all the good stuff, NASCAR, tennis, disco golf. That's an inside joke. It's disc golf. I once said disco golf, and I had a lot of people be like, disco golf, I want to play that. Cricket, Euro basketball, all kinds of good stuff. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can get a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. You deposit $100. PrizePicks will give you $100. You put in 50, they'll give you 50. It's that easy. PrizePicks.com with the promo code Locked On. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen every day. Now go make your second listen, the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. Okay, we will be back tomorrow. Zhao you doing in the house. Our win streak could not restart. Could not restart, unfortunately. But look, a lot of ball game left. So a lot of time to figure all of that out. Lily, and then on Thursday, we have our Commanders crossover. Friday, our live show, which the new time for the live show, 7 o'clock Central time. 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern. We are doing our live show. Better for me and my schedule and my toddler. So he runs the show around here. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers. And anytime you want to be with us on our live shows, check us out on YouTube at Locked On Packers YouTube. We go live on Fridays. We go live on Sundays after the game to stay Locked On Packers.